In hindsight, I wish we had used a rust remover before undersealing the car back in the unit, because if you didn't know, we spent countless hours grinding down thick layers of rust off the Subaru, rust treating it, and then finally undersealing it. But 2 years on, as you can clearly see, the rust is starting to come back through, which would suggest that we didn't do that good of a job. So as a last resort, we're going to try this product and see if we can get rid of at least a little bit of rust and prolong the life of the car just a touch. Before we go ahead and brush this on underneath the car, let's first test it on the rear subframe bolts just to see what sort of results we get. The product does say to dilute it in 2.5 litres of water and then place your object in the container so it's fully immersed. However, because we're using it for two purposes, we're just going to dilute it a little bit less. So I've got some stale water here that's been in there a while. I'll do in there, the top, and then pour it in. And now we're just going to throw it in. Oh wow. Throw a bolt in, which is not fully immersed. Oh. Pop that one in, and pop that one in. Depending on the amount of rust, leave to work for 10 minutes or several hours. Finish by thoroughly washing off with water. Depending on the amount of rust, the treatment may be repeated if necessary. So I guess now we just wait. You join me on the floor of the shed. While we wait for the product to do its thing on the subframe bolts, we're going to remove just a little bit of the surface rust from underneath the car. We've got our drill and wire drill attachment. I'm not going to go crazy with an angle grinder again. I can't. I haven't got the patience for that again. So, yeah, let's get started. As always, make sure you wear safety glasses. I seem to have put mine down somewhere and I can't find them. So, I'm using sunglasses. Not only are we going to be removing rust, we're going to be looking insanely cool while doing it. I can barely see anything now. That's a familiar smell. The smell of brushing or grinding off rust is very distinctive. We don't need to go crazy with it, we just need to remove flaky bits from it so we can brush on our product. So I seem to have found a hole, which I don't remember seeing prior. That's insane. I've literally found a new hole. Jesus Christ. It just gets worse, doesn't it? Oh, I'll use some rust remover on the car. That'll help. 20 minutes later, I've grinded to myself about the new hole that I found. I've decided to just brush on the rust treatment and call it a day. So, I've got it in my glass. It's not a beer, although it kind of looks like one. So, there we go. We'll see what it does, We'll see what it does. Let's start the time lapse. So after 15 minutes, this is the result so far. You can see it's doing something. Let's get to work on doing the rest of the car, hey. So I am filming this by hand, and it's safe to say it's quite difficult to film and brush, but we crack on. Let's be real, I'm probably wasting my time doing this, but for the sake of £8, if it does something. Right then, that is the vast majority of the rear end now treated with rust remover. Whether it does anything or whether it strips down the understeel, I have no idea. Time will tell. The fact that it's doing something does annoy me, because had I have thought about this back when the entire car was grinded down, it perhaps wouldn't look the way it does now, but it is what it is. It's a lesson learned. So, learn from me. If you grind your entire car down, make sure, or even if you just grind a small section, get yourself some rust remover to get the final bits that your grinder perhaps can't get, and you might save yourself a hell of a lot of headache in the future. So yeah, let's go see what our bolts look like anyway. This is the car 24 hours later. It does seem to have done something. I'm just not entirely convinced that it's removed the rust. It sort of just gave everything a wet look instead, and I have wiped it down. I'll put what it looked like on prior, but before it had a load of rust patches along the top, whereas now they seem to have either blended in with the understeel or are non-existent. I don't know. And this is the first section that we brushed on the product, and as you can see, it's not completely eradicated the rust, but it has done something. So this is the 5.5 tie rod after applying the product, and as you can see, in places it's completely removed the rust, whereas in others it's just turned it black. I'm not sure if that means it's worked or it's just had a reaction with the rust. No idea. If you know in the comments, then let me know. Right then, we've not really accomplished much in this video, to be honest. We've found a giant hole on the underneath of the car, and we've tried out some rust remover as well, and that's not really done anything, to be honest. So that was a waste of £8. Well, it did work pretty well on the bolts. So if you've got a load of bolts that need the rust removed, then go ahead and spend £8. There's various different brands, so there may be, you may get, your results may vary depending on which one you get, but that's the one I bought. So yeah, I think what I'm realising is, and I did realise it in the last video, but more so now, that the vast majority of us that are tinkering away on our cars or building them are doing it in a garage or on a driveway or even on the street. And that comes with its limitations, because in a car in this sort of shape, you would strip it all down and you would dip it in an acid bath and, you know, redo the metal work and have it resprayed and put the car back together, and it would look incredible. You'd never want to drive it because it would look brand new, but that's, in my opinion, the only real solution to the rust problem. So, yeah, we've just got to make do. We're gonna put the car back together. We'll enjoy it for what it is and while it lasts, and it's a lesson for our next build, which God knows when that'll be, but stay tuned. We'll get there eventually in true sloth fashion. So yeah, that's the end of the video, guys. Stay tuned for the next one. We're going to be putting the fuel tank back in, and well, that'll probably be it unless I think of anything else. Well, anything fuel related will go back in the next video. So yeah, as always, if you've made it this far in the video, and especially in this one because it's probably terrible, then thank you, and I'll see you in the next one, which I don't know when it will be because it's my birthday tomorrow. Everybody say happy birthday to me in the comments. I'll appreciate it greatly. Yeah, I'll see you in the next one, guys. Bye bye. Look, guys, this is the fuel filler neck. I am stoked to put this back on.